What's up, everybody? This is the Charleston Transplants podcast with yours truly, Uncle Bobby. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am basically just a guy who went on TikTok about 4.5 months ago, started posting content about moving from Long Island to Charleston, South Carolina back in 2021. And now I have 16.4 thousand followers. So, this has taken on a whole crazy life of itself, and I'm pumped about it. So now I'm making a podcast about my experiences so you could basically learn about me, my life, my story. Most importantly, how just straight to the point I am. I'm not going to bullshit you, and sharing my experiences that should hopefully help you if you're considering making the move or just entertain the hell out of you. That's really it. I'm a 38-year-old guy. Almost everybody I know, other than the kids, they just call me Rob. But to pretty much everybody's kids, I'm just Uncle Bobby. The legend of Uncle Bobby began before any of my friends even had kids. It just is what it is, for better or worse. But I grew up on Long Island, New York, in Massapequa Park. I've lived in Nassau County, Suffolk County, all over the boroughs. I originally went to Marist College in Poughkeepsie. I graduated from Massapequa High School in 2006. I think I saw something on Facebook where they're like, yo, 20-year reunion. I'm like, I don't feel that old. Right? But when you talk to a high school kid now, you're like, okay, dude, I'm old. Like, I can't, it's like we're not even speaking the same language. So I was always just like a lifer, like a New York lifer. You know, I grew up in like an Italian American household, like everybody else in Massapequa, it seems like tons of people throughout the tri-state. And I never thought I would leave. You know, I played lacrosse in high school. I played lacrosse in college. I originally went to Marist College in Poughkeepsie. I ended up transferring back home to Rockville Center to go to Malloy. I played lacrosse at Malloy College. I think now Malloy University. Prestigious. Sounds prestigious. It's a huge nursing school. I went for business. Go figure, right? But a little sip of the Diet Snapple there. But listen, I never thought I would leave. I had all my family there. None of my family had ever left before. All my family was in the Bronx. Like when we migrated to Nassau County to Massapequa, that was like the biggest thing. No one could believe it, right? I built my career there. I had my friends there. I had my family there. I had a music career there, which is funny. People ask, what kind of music you do? And I told them I would rap. And they're like, oh, how real funny, because everybody in New York wants to be like a white rapper in their mom's basement, and they smoke weed and drink beers, and they bust a freestyle like, oh, I'm a rapper. No, like I legit was in legitimate recording studios. Like for a year straight, I was recording with hip hop legend Eric Sermon of EPMD. And for those of you who are not 80s or 90s hip hop fans, Eric Sermon, EPMD was one of the biggest things ever. I mean, they were around then. It was like MC Hammer and EPMD. Like those are the ones that were touring back then when they got started. It's a Long Island legend. And I always say, everyone has seen 8 Mile with Eminem before. And one of Eminem's freestyles, he goes, yo, this guy raps like his parents jerked him. He sounds like Eric Sermon, the generic version. This whole crowd looks suspicious. It's all dudes in here except for these bitches. Well, I'm a German, eh? That's okay. You look like a fucking worm with braids. All right, I could go on forever with every freestyle from that. But this guy sounds like Eric Sermon, the generic version. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, that rings a bell. I get it. So I worked with him for a year straight. I opened up for Fabulous at Westbury Music Fair. And it's funny because you get nervous and hyped. You're like, yo, this is it. Like, this is my time to shine. And you realize nobody even shows up until Fabulous is on stage for like 10 minutes. So it was me. I think this was like 2012-ish. And I was the opener to the big opener, who was Meek Mill. And most people were kind of like, who the hell is Meek Mill? And now everybody knows Meek Mill. But Meek Mill went on stage with like a posse of like 20 dudes. And he was dope. He was great. But I was all over New York. I was in places where like you probably shouldn't go, you know, and I would walk in. I would be the only white dude. And every experience I ever had was pretty damn good. But it's funny because there's this like, whatever the opposite of discrimination is in a way, it's kind of like everyone looks at you like you're supposed to be really dope, because they're like, yo, if they're bringing this white boy around, he must be really, really good. And that's up to everyone else to decide, not me. But it's like the pressure was always on, and I loved it. I just love seeing people's expressions, kind of like they were kind of questioning things at first, and then in the middle of it, they're like, okay, and you see their faces turning and their expressions change. But needless to say, like I was a New Yorker through and through, like just stuffing my face with chicken parm and like going around making music and making money. And I worked like a real corporate job right out of college. Like I did not wait. I was just eager to make money. Candidly, like I had a lacrosse scholarship in college, but I was kind of just burnt out by the time I even got like past my freshman year. I was like, let me just get through this. I'm getting money to play. You know, I had a really dope coach when I transferred to Malloy. So I was like, let me just get through this. And I just want to make it through and make money. That's all I cared about. So I worked at the USTA, the National Tennis Center in Queens and Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. I worked guest services there all through college. I kept that job on Sundays while I was working my corporate job Monday through Friday. So I was just hustling and just living at home, and I was making a modest $42,000 a year, plus the 1 day a week. I was making whatever, $15 an hour at the tennis center, and I was just living at home and banking everything. I would go out on Friday nights. Saturday nights, I wouldn't go out at all because I had to get up at 4:30 to go work from like 5:30 to like 3 in the afternoon on Sundays. And that was it. Like my life was just a grind, and that kind of continued forever, right? So fast forward to where this becomes relevant for you. This episode is kind of the backstory, and this will transition into my experience, but just giving you the foundation of who I am, my mindset, who I was, who I am now, where I'm going will help you, I think, make decisions for you and your family if you're considering making the move. So you fast forward all the way. I'll be sharing stories along the way, but you fast forward all the way to like, she's going to kill me for forgetting this. I want to say early November of 2019 is when I met my then girlfriend, now wife, Lindsay. And it was never a problem like meeting girls or having a girlfriend. But to me, there was always a problem of like, you hit the 2-year mark and you're like, could I marry this person? And the question and the answer to me in my head was always like, absolutely not. So I decided to go to a matchmaker on Long Island, and everyone's like, yo, isn't that like the movie Hitch? Like you have like a coach, and I'm like, yo, come. No, I don't need coaching. Like I had some game, you know? I mean, I talk for a living. I'm in sales for a living. I'm the SVP of sales for a marketing agency for a living. I was a rapper, right? Like I don't have a problem using my mouth, right? So I go to this matchmaker, and I don't remember what it was, but I want to say it was like $2,000 or something in that range. And you basically pay this matchmaker to set quality matches for you. And in my head, I wasn't like, I don't need a situation that's absolutely perfect. I just want a girl that has her shit together, has a career, has a good family, and is not an absolute nut job. Because when you go on these dating apps, at least how it was back then, it was just like pure chaos. And I'm assuming it hasn't gotten any better. So I went on a date with this one person, and she was cool and had a good family and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, great. It just didn't click, didn't mesh. The second person I met was my now wife, Lindsay, where she had all the foundational like properties that you want to have in someone, in a partner. And we really hit it off. Like we just went out to eat. We would talk for hours, and it was just like, cool. It felt like, it was just 5 minutes, and we're sitting there for hours and hours and hours, which is great. Fast forward to February of 2020, we all know what happened, right? There's this global pandemic going on, and we've only been dating a couple months, and there's supposed to be just this 2-week lockdown in New York. And I'm like, let's just, I don't know. She had a condo in Huntington. I had a house out in Holbrook at the time. And I was like, I don't know, crazy thought. Let's ride out this lockdown together so we're not alone. So I had my 3-4-year-old, maybe 5 or 6-year-old Shih Tzu, Canola, that's my current dog. Her name was Brooklyn, was my Shih Tzu at the time, and I rescued her. So I scaled the burning building, I threw the ladder down, and I carried her out. Like Bill Burr has a whole bit. He's like, no, you went to the pound and you got a free dog. Well, she was $500, but essentially same concept. So she came over to ride this lockdown out for 2 weeks. We were both working remotely. And that lockdown, as we all know, went from 2 weeks to 2 months to 3. It just like never ended. And if you wanted to go anywhere, you had to show 17 forms of ID. And it was just insanity. So it ended up, it feels weird. I have like this weird survivor's guilt. It feels like I shouldn't be so reminiscent in a positive way about that time period. But it was amazing for us. Like we got to basically have like a 2-year relationship of getting to know somebody within a span of just months, just because breakfast, lunch, dinner, working, everything, sneezing, taking a shit, like we're in each other's spaces. You know what I mean? Like you get to know somebody really, really quickly, and it went amazingly well. Like people were getting divorced during that time period. Like that was like everyone was in a pressure cooker. And for us, it was a pressure cooker in all the best ways. Because I was like, okay, this is going to work. So before I met Linz, I was in the process of selling my house in Holbrook and buying a different house in Holbrook. So during COVID, I want to say it was like May, maybe. We're like, all right, we're up and moving. So we had the movers come and we moved to the other house and we're in the house. And then I bought it to gut reno the entire thing. So we went through COVID. We went through a whole gut renovation of the house. Everything was going well. Like I absolutely hated my job. I worked for the worst humans on earth, but it was a job and a position or an opportunity I had been in for probably like 5-6 years, where it was a very modest salary, but it was a sales role where it was like, yo, if you crush it, you can make tons of money. And I was in a financial position that I never could have even dreamed of. And I was, 30 years old, like hitting like a 7-figure net worth by like 30, 31 years old. Like it was insane. Like I'm good with saving money, but I couldn't spend the amount of money I was making, which was a great problem. And I was banking it and things were great. Like hated my job, was insanely stressed. But aside from that, it was like, the money was kind of like getting me through it. And life was great. Like my dog and I were like best friends forever. It was like, it sounds weird to say, maybe creepy to some people who don't get it. But like that dog was my soulmate. Like would take her to Central Park, would take her on the Long Island Railroad, on the subway, anywhere I went, the little fluffy girly lap dog was with me. Like everything, everywhere I went, no matter what I did. It was like Robin Brooklyn. And then we brought Lindsay into the mix and it was amazing. Like it was like one big, perfect, happy family. Another Diet Snapple sip here as we get into the chaos. So one day in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, our dog Brooklyn starts convulsing to no end in the middle of the night. Her body was like stiff as anything. Her body was stretched out. Her head was like to the side. It was traumatic. And she was just convulsing. And like we turned on the lights and I'm just in like these like hot sweats, just like sweating, like so nervous. I could hear my heart pounding and I'm like calling her name, Brooklyn. She eventually like comes to and she has zero use of her back legs. So it's like 2 a.m, I want to say. We rush downstairs, we get in the car, we rush her to an emergency vet. They're like, sorry, it sounds neurological, we can't help you. So go to this vet. So we go to this other animal hospital. We rush there. I want to say that was in September. There was about 3 or 4 different episodes that she had of those seizures that were really, really bad. And we would just rush her to the hospital every single time. And she'd be there for a couple of days and she'd come back. And they couldn't pinpoint what it was. So for those of you on Long Island, if at all costs, and I don't want to get into the details of how horrific the experience was before everything all ended, but the West Islip Animal Hospital, I think it has a blue sign on Sunrise Highway, avoid it at all costs. I mean, just their business practices are insanely shady, not to mention they misdiagnosed everything for 3-4 months straight. And even with pet insurance cost me, I think, almost $25,000 out of pocket. Luckily, I was in a fortunate financial situation where I was like, whatever it costs, I don't care. Let's make it happen. But you think about all these people that it would bankrupt them or they don't have the money to do that. And they have to decide, do I even give my dog a fighting chance or not? Sickening. Anyway, I think it was Christmas Eve. All of a sudden, we're in the kitchen and Brooklyn starts convulsing and letting out this shriek and squealing noise. It sounded like a combination of like a baby pig and like a human baby in the most pain you could ever imagine, like screaming for their life. Traumatizing. So we get in the car, we rush to the animal hospital. I'm doing 85, who knows, maybe 90 on Sunrise Highway, where it's more open in Suffolk County a bit, right? It's not Nassau County with all the lights. And in typical Long Island fashion, there's this guy that is proactively blocking me from passing. I have my hazards on. I'm honking. My hands are out the window. I'm trying to signal to him like there's a severe emergency, matter of minutes for life and death. And this guy for about, I don't know, it felt like about 5 minutes, was just proactively blocking me in no matter where I went. Brake checking me, locking me in behind other cars. Like he took that upon himself. Long story short, rushed the dog there, and Christmas Day, the night of Christmas Day, they call, they're like, this dog has hours to live. We have to put her down. Listen, I've had really, really close family members and friends pass away in tragic events. I've had a friend drown. I've had a lot of things happen. My cousin senior year of high school was shot and killed. Like a lot of really traumatizing stuff, but nothing has ever hit me like this. Like the dog was 7 years old, was perfectly healthy until that September. It was just not supposed to go that way. So naturally, things were really, 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 really depressing. Really depressing. And we were just like, we need to get away. And we need to go to Florida for 2 weeks. And we figured on the way to Florida, we would stop in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's kind of the beginning of the story of us getting to Charleston. So that's episode 1. I don't mean to leave you on a cliffhanger, but we're at about 16, 17 minutes, so I'm going to have to leave you at a cliffhanger. And episode 2, we'll be diving into that specific journey and our first experience in Charleston. So thanks for listening, guys.